Hello.
Hi. Again.
Yeah, it's weekends, and I just think that it's so fun.
Not tomorrow. I don't think.
Correct. Tomorrow's Monday. Weekend is over. My hair is such a fluffy mess right now. Anyhow, so we read today about practicing your meditations on your enemy. Excuse me. Phone.
On the person you hate.
On the person you hate, yeah. And that when you do this, you are experiencing true equanimity, which is part of the 4 measurable minds. It's the last one.
What is equanimity?
It's when you love without distinction, I think.
Right?
Yeah. When,
everything's equal.
right, there's no discrimination, without discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
You don't discriminate between, people based on if they deserve it or how well you know them.
Yeah, how you feel about them.
Right. I think that the most interesting thing that we read today was that when you love somebody that you hate, when you're
Seems
able,
not possible.
when you practice the meditation, it says, as you meditate on that person and you start to understand them and you start to understand what brings them joy and you start to understand what's brought them suffering and you start to really actually get to the core of that person, that as you do that, for one, you're humanizing them, but also you're softening toward them, I guess, because they're not just somebody who's done something to harm you. They're as human as you are.
Right.
And that when this happens, as your disdain for them starts to transform into concern and love, that this is the only time that you really experience true equanimity, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not discriminating, between yourself and them. And that as a result, you actually love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's an interesting concept, this idea of loving someone that you really struggle with,
Mm-hmm.
Converting internally into actually loving yourself. And why say this? Why say this?
Why say this? I'm like, you okay? I think it's because I think what that whole concept is getting at is that if you're hanging on to a hatred for someone, that you're just filling your life with negative stuff. You're filling, if your thought about that person is that you hate them, then you're experiencing those thoughts of hatred,
right.
And instead of seeds of joy and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. I think, in the next little section of the chapter, Thich Nhat Hanh talks about anger and hurt being like a fire. And when you dislike someone, I think that you are continually experiencing that fire. I'm sorry, I'm moving the camera because I'm trying to find a better way to hold it. And so it's always being on fire. So
being in a lake of fire.
Yeah, and not in a good way. I'm on fire for this awesome thing, but fire I'm literally burning. Yeah, like when you burn your arm. Show them your scar. She burnt her arm on a.
It looks a lot better today.
It does.
There's a pizza pan.
Yeah, she burned her arm on a pizza pan, and that hurt. And that's what it's like, burning yourself often and continually. And so when you when you can love this person that is causing you, to burn, you can experience like peace. Yeah. And you can experience joy in the place where you've been reserving all this energy and time toward hate, which isn't
it's
something
just like
that gives us joy.
The concept of like forgiving someone isn't like, it doesn't change like what they did that hurt you, right. But it like releases you from the feelings of whatever it is that you need to forgive them for.
It could be a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, whatever that pain is. Like, I think one of the things that happens when we hate somebody, it's usually because they did something that really hurt us, and we're holding on to that memory, to that thing, that one, maybe multiple times, but that the places in our lives that were the worst, and we're clinging to that and continually putting ourselves through it over and over again. And at the same time, we're also not seeing this person that hurt us as a human being,
as equal to you.
Yeah. I mean, and so when you experience, I think, that kind of duality in your mind, you realize, like, how easy it is to, I think, experience those emotions for yourself too.
Right.
Like hatred and anger.
It's true.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
So, I was just thinking about if someone watched this video and hadn't seen any of the other ones, they'd be like, what are they talking about? We're talking about the book Teachings on Love by Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Buddhist.
True.
And I was just thinking about how, like, it was so easy for me to think when I was reading, or when we were reading what we were reading earlier, it was like these teachings of, like, love your enemy and, like, pray for your enemy or whatever, or the person you dislike, is, like, such a concept that, like, appears throughout a lot of, like, religious or theological texts. So it's kind of interesting that you could, like, connect that with a lot of different places, origins.
Yeah. Definitely.
So everybody needs it. We're all humans that need to, like, think about how to love each other better, or love ourselves better.
Yeah, I think that, we're all experiencing this, like, we all want to be happy, and we all want to experience joy in our lives, and we want to be able to, like, I mean, everything, if you look at our current, like, American society, everything we do is like, wrapped around the idea of, like, finding moments of joy. Yeah. And so many of the things that we lock in on are temporary. And I think that we don't necessarily realize this in the moment.
Yeah.
But we know it overall in the long run because we don't feel happiness. It's not something that we feel in our core. It's something that we experience on, from moment to moment that's fleeting.
Because they're probably one of the 5 harmful desires.
Yeah.
The Buddhists call.
Right.
Which are
sleep, sex,
oversleeping, overeating.
Oversexing.
Okay.
You started it.
Let me tell you what it is. Let me just tell you.
Okay, go.
Okay, oversleeping, overeating, money, sex, and fame.
Right.
So we might be looking for happiness in one of those, and, like, overeating is the one that hits me over the face, because, like, that's always
and
gonna be a struggle.
It's funny because you have this moment where you're like, yes, cake, or whatever, the thing that you eat.
Oh, that was so good, I'm gonna have another plate of it.
Mm-hmm. But it is immediate, and maybe even in the moment of,
it's not,
you're already not happy. You're, like, already like, dang it.
Like, I had Popeyes fries today.
Oh,
I love Popeyes fries.
It's not a thing for me.
But I ate like a lot instead of just like a couple. Like I knew if I just ate a couple, they'd taste good and I'd be happy. But I ate a lot.
Right.
And then I instantly didn't feel good.
It was the over part.
So it was the overeating the Popeyes fries.
Right. Like just having a couple Popeyes fries. Could have been
I could have just had the taste of it and like moved on with my life. And
right.
like, I'm so glad I had that moment.
Right.
So the same thing for like seeking out money instead of just like being able to provide for yourself. And like oversleeping. I feel like nobody oversleeps anymore unless you're like a teenager. I mean, you probably oversleep.
I don't know what that
I don't
is.
think so either.
I know that I like worry for sleep. Like I'm like, oh gosh, am I gonna get enough sleep to function today? But like I don't know that I've overslept in ever. Not ever. I used to be able to sleep like 15 hours.
Yeah, like I'd be like, well, it's summer. Who cares?
Do what I want.
Just
yeah,
sleep forever.
There's something about knowing you like have to go back to school though, like when you're in that time in your life, that like just makes summer so free, so just so guilt free. But yeah, like I think maybe not oversleeping, but over resting is something that I'm guilty of.
That's
like
probably an umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, like because I feel like there are times when my body needs me to like stop and slow down, and then I can easily be like, now that I'm resting, now that I'm just chilling,
I'm just gonna rest some more.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay here.
I'll just stay on this couch and watch more Catfish.
Yeah, or whatever.
Instead of doing the things that would make me happier in the long run, like doing the dishes.
I'd make.
Although I did both of those things tonight, so I'm pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I can hear the dishwasher in the background. But back to the point, which was that, when you can really love someone, I think those connections that we make with other people, when you really feel that and you get to this point where like love runs so deep in you that you can love someone that you hated, there is a joy to that. There's a joy in that because you're free from the things that so often I think trigger unhappiness. So it's not necessarily about finding happiness or joy. Like, the act itself might not be what brings you joy, but it keeps you from experiencing the things that bring you the opposite. Yeah. The unhappiness and,
whatever the opposite of joy is.
Like
sadness?
Yeah, or like depression or I'm looking for a different word, like it's like depression, but it's like more dramatic and I can't think of what
I thought depression was pretty dramatic.
It was. But there's a really good word.
Discomfort?
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, that's true. You can be more comfortable around everyone when you know that you don't have to worry about whether you like them or they like you because you're going to love them no matter what.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice when you can, like, be released from that.
Exactly.
And one of the things, and I don't remember the line exactly, but Thich Nhat Hanh says, if you think that you can live just with yourself and not be part of the community, like you're fooling yourself basically. Like it's not, you can't really experience true happiness or joy if you're only ever alone. And I know like I get this feeling when I'm like really overwhelmed with life, like, or with an emotion. I'm like, I wish I could just like be by myself like on an island. And at the moment that sounds really delicious, but like I know that it would not take long for me to be like, this is the worst. Yeah. Because we need people. It's the plain and simple of it. And I think
if you want people, you have to treat them like yourself.
Yeah, you have to be able to forgive people because we're all humans. We all do stupid things. Yep. So, yeah.
Even this guy. my man right there. You know, I did a walking meditation with him once.
I love that story.
I did. I didn't meet him, but
like you saw him.
Yeah.
It was like a concert.
No, there's a Buddhist retreat center or something in Mississippi, and we took a little trip out there when I was in college, and we got to do a walking meditation, and then we got to hear him talk, and we ate lunch.
This is like a concert.
I mean, not
This was
really.
a good analogy. Yeah, like you're a spectator that doesn't really get to participate.
Plus behind the scenes, sure.
Did you meet him?
I met monks.
Did you meet Thich Nhat Hanh?
No, I didn't meet Thich Nhat Hanh because he's like super old and famous.
Sorry.
Anyways, the point is that was really cool.
That is really cool. That it really is. Okay. Well, it's been 16 minutes.
That was distracting.
And we're really tired. And we love you.
So we love you. And go love the people you hate.
Meditate on them. Yeah.
Meditate that.
See what you find.
Wait, I'm going to tell you what it is. This is what you should meditate on.
Go to the beginning of the chapter.
Oh, I got it. Okay. This is your meditation. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May he or she know how to nourish the seeds of joy in him or herself every day. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in the person I hate and help the person I hate nourish the seeds of joy in him or herself. Boom. Goodbye.
Love you.
Love you.